Hi guys, this is Leela. Welcome to my channel leelawebdev. In this video, we will learn about the other two resolution modifiers that are available in the Angular. So we have learned about this optional and the self modifier, resolution modifier in our previous video. And now for example, let's say that if I open here, so you can also use the combination of the optional and self also. For example, let's say that if you are using only the self means, for example, if I try to mention this one only in the self, now already this my service will be available in this one. So what it will try to do, automatically the service will be available. Why? Because it will try to search only in this one here. So the service will be available here. Fine. If I don't provide here in this one, so it will throw an error. Why? Because the service is not available. So in this scenario it is throwing an error, but what I want to do it is, I don't want to throw this error. I want to, instead of this one, if it is able to find the service instance, it should send that service instance. If it doesn't find means send the null value. So for that one, what we can do it is, we can use a combination of optional here. Okay, like this we can use it. Now in this one, the service instance is not available, then it will return null. This is how we'll be having. Apart from this one, we also have another one. For example, let's say that if you are able to use this self means, okay, so if you are able to use this self means, so now we are able to get this error, right? So now if you remove this one, now you may not get the error. Why? Because in the parent, in this parent you will be able to find the service. That is nothing but parent.component.as. That is nothing but the parent is app component. In the app component it is able to present. So for example, let's say that, so here let's say that you can also use another one, something like skip self. Okay, so skip self. So this skip self, what it will try to do it is, so this skip self will skip the, so what is the issue in this one? Yeah, this skip self, what it will try to do it is, so it will stop searching the what I want to say is the service instance in the current component. So it will stop the, so here I have written it exactly clearly, starts the search for the service in the parent element injector instead of the current one. So this is useful when you want to use a service from a parent component or directive. So for example, let's say that here we are having the providers, okay, providers and my service. So now if you don't provide this one means automatically in the current component, so it is available. So what it will try to do, it will try to take the service instance from the current component. So if I don't want the service instance from the current component, instead of that one it needs to be taken from the parent means, then here you can use the skip self. Skip self means, so it will not search the service instance in the current component, it will try to get it from the parent component. Now if I try to remove this one from the parent component, what will happen? Automatically error will be thrown. But here still if I provide this my service instance also, it will not take that instance from the current component. Why? Because we have added a skip self. So that is the reason it will throw an error. So it is trying to search the instance in the parent component. So this is all about the skip self. So the final one what we are having is the child component. So if I try to use this child component, so as I already told you, right, so the options we cannot use it. Some of the things, host and self cannot be used, skip self and self we cannot use it. So we should not use the skip self and also the self at a time. So this one will return a problem. Why? Because what it is trying to do, so you are trying to search it in the current component, only in the current component, and also you are trying to tell that don't search in the current component. So this result to an confusion. So that is the reason. So both this is an except condition combination which we need to use, which we should not use it. The another one which I want to explain you is the host component. So this host component, something looks like one and the same only. Okay, so if you try to see this host component, so what it is trying to do it is, so this host component, it is trying to search the my service. So here it is available in this one, so it is able to get this. So for example, if I remove here, okay, if I remove here, now it will not able to find it. Okay, and if I try to add it here, so I will try to add it here, providers my service. If I try to add it here, so now you will be able to see that still we are able to get an error. Host provider, host means what it will try to do is, it will try to search it in the current component. If it is not available means in the parent component, sorry, instead in the parent component it will try to search it. So if I try to provide here the providers my service, okay, so now it will able to get this service thing. So it without any problem it will able to get. So if it is not available means in the host component, so that means in its parent, in its immediate parent, it will try to search it. But here what is happening here, in the immediate parent we are able to use it, but still we are not able to get this my service. So what is the problem here is, instead of using the providers, here we need to use the view providers. Okay, so this is the concept. Now if you try to see here, you will be able to get a my service. So here you need to understand the difference between a providers and a view providers. View providers means, so directly the children of this view. So here for in this app component.html, if you try to check it here, so this is a direct children. It is a children for the in the view. For example, let's say that this is our parent component, right? And let's say that you are having a child component. Let's assume, okay, you are having a child component. Let's go to the parent and child component relation, so that you will be able to understand very easily. And in this parent.component.ts, so here instead of using this private and all those things, let's remove this one. And here I will be having the providers, okay, providers and my service. Let's assume. So here I am providing in the parent component the my service, and in the child component.ts file, or in the, let's close this one all, in the parent.component.html, where is this one? Yeah, here we are using it as in like this directly. And in the child component.ts file, so here in the constructor, and I want to use @host private my service is of my service. Okay, and here if I try to do console.log of this dot my service, then you will be able to see the output for this one. So now you will not able to see the output, by because we are getting an error. Now what it is trying to do, it will try to search in the current component, it is not able to find. For in its parent component, it is trying to do. So who has called this child component? The parent component has been called. So in this parent, it will try to check the providers. So it is provided, so the my service is provided, but still it is throwing an error. So this is happening because the parent component.html here, the app-child is not a direct parent. It is the child. It is a child in the view. It is a child in the view. The providers will be the child only to the content projection. So to the content elements only, it will be the child. It will consider as a child. So here you need to provide it as a view providers. Okay. So view providers, it will try to get it. So now you will be able to see that service. You will be able to get it. So now when these providers will work then. So here if I will try to show you here the scenario where the providers come into existence. If you go to the app.component.html, okay. So if you go to app.component.html, in this one I will try to do an app-child. Okay, here it is a content child. Okay, and now in the app component.ts file, I will try to use the child component here only. Fine, done. And here app component.html, we are having an app-child. And in the parent.component.ts file, no, app component.ts file. Okay, fine. So now let's go to the parent.component.ts file. Now if you try to check in the app-child, here you should not use it like this. So you can use something like ng content. So here the content will be placed. Now if you try to see the output for this one, so here we are able to get the my service. So how we are able to get this one my service? In the child component, we are checking the my service, right? And now if you go to the app component.ts and app component, so here in our parent.component.ts file, so we are not able to get this one. So why? Because in the app component.ts file, we are providing this my service. If I try to remove this one, let's remove this one. So now if you try to check it here, so we are getting an error. Now in the parent.component, so who is the parent for this one? For the child component, parent. Now here if I provide this one as a providers, now whether we can able to get it or not. My service. Okay. So if I try to use it my service, now if you try to see here, now we are able to get this one. So now here we are able to get this one. If I try to provide it as a view providers, now you will not get the error. You will get an error. Why? Because these view providers will only work to the components that are having in such a way that like this. So in the view it is provided, then only, so for these only it will work. So if you try to see here, so here you are getting an error for this one, but another one you will get an so here we are getting an error. So that is the reason this is not getting executed. If you try to place it at the top, okay, view providers, we have mentioned it, right? Let's try to see whether we can get it or not. Still we are getting an error, so leave it. If I provide only ng content, if I remove it and if I do it, Still we are getting why in the parent.component I have mentioned it. In the parent.component.ts the view providers my service is there. In the parent.component.html, okay, app-child. So here we are having child.component and the host, okay. So we are having it as a view providers. So maybe because of the ng content and all those things it is getting some issue, I think. Hope you understood about the concept. So now if I provide this one, let's say that in the parent.component.html, if I provide it as an ng content, okay, ng content, now the app-child come into this one. So now what you will be able to, you are getting an error, right? For this one what will happen is, so in the parent.component.ts you should provide it as an providers, okay. So for these providers now you will be able to get a my service. View providers will act as something like for the view the children will be there, ng content thing the providers child will be there. So here you need to understand the host concept, how it will be working. Hope you understood about this concept. So if you have any doubts or any suggestions, please post the comments below to this video, and if you like this video please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you.